It was late afternoon when golden sunlight began pouring through the lace curtains in our cozy little kitchen. The kind of light that turns everything soft and warm, like a kiss that lingers just a little too long. I had music playing softly, something gentle and jazzy that filled the space between the hum of the stove and the rhythm of my stirring spoon. I was in my favorite soft robe, barefoot on the cool tiles, preparing his favorite dish, garlic butter chicken with herbs from the little windowsill garden we kept together. The scent of roasted garlic and thyme hung in the air, swirling with warmth and memory. I didn't hear him come in at first, but then I felt it, the familiar presence. The air changed, and a quiet smile curled across my lips even before I turned. And there he was, my husband, leaning in the doorway, one eyebrow raised, the corners of his lips tugged into that crooked smile that had made me fall in love with him all those years ago. "You always look like art when you're in the kitchen," he said, his voice a mix of teasing and awe. I laughed, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear, and turned back to the simmering pan. He came closer,
slowly, purposefully.
And then, warm arms slipped around my waist, his chest pressing gently against my back. I stilled for just a second. Every time he held me like that, it was like the first time all over again. His lips brushed against the curve of my neck, and I shivered under the heat that had nothing to do with the stove. "You're going to make me burn the food," I whispered, smiling. He murmured against my skin, "Let it burn." I giggled, swatting at him gently, but he only held me tighter. He turned me around with ease, like I was light as a breath, and lifted me up to sit on the counter. My legs wrapped around his waist without a thought, and he stepped between them. I could feel his hands pressing into the small of my back, anchoring me to him. The scent of his cologne mixed with the aroma of dinner. I couldn't tell which I loved more. His lips met mine, slow, deep, and hungry. The kind of kiss that speaks in silence, that says I missed you, and I need you, and I love you all at once. My fingers tangled in his hair as his kisses trailed along my jaw, then down to my collarbone. I gasped softly, my breath catching like steam in the air. The kiss turned from sweet to searing, from soft to something else entirely. "I was just trying to cook," I said breathlessly. "And I'm just trying to love you," he said, his voice low, rough, full of want. He took his time with every touch, every kiss. The kitchen disappeared. The clock, the simmering pan, the world beyond the windows. None of it mattered. There was only the heat of his body, the way his fingers traced my skin like they were learning it all over again. The way he made me feel like the most beautiful woman alive, even with flour on my cheek and my hair in a messy bun. We kissed like we hadn't seen each other in years, even though we were never apart for long. We laughed in between little moments of joy where he kissed the tip of my nose, or I tugged at his shirt and whispered ridiculous things to make him smile. At some point, the timer beeped. We didn't move. The food could wait. Love was being made in stolen moments between kisses and whispers, in the way he looked at me like I was his entire world. Eventually, we did eat, a little late, the chicken slightly overcooked. We fed each other bites, sitting on the floor, backs against the cabinets, laughing like kids who had fallen in love for the first time. But we weren't kids. We were two people with a history, a home, and a love that burned hotter than anything on that stove. And the kitchen? It would always be our place. The place of meals and memories and magic. The place where, again and again, my husband took me in his arms, while I was cooking, while I was laughing, while I was simply being, and reminded me of everything we are, and always will be.